So most people think that fat loss and reaching their nutrition and fitness goals is all about eating less, moving more, working out harder, all of those things. But the truth is that if you're not focused on recovery, then the rest of the stuff isn't going to cut it. It's not going to do it. It's not going to help you get to your goals. And so today, that's what we're talking about. We're going to be going over recovery and how the grind can actually keep you away from your goals rather than help you with it. So, welcome into the Tuesday Lunch Hour Live. If you guys are new here, or if you guys are watching the replay, we do this video every Tuesday at noon Central Standard Time. And today we're talking all about recovery. Recovery is one of those things that most men overlook. And especially if you are trying hard, doing all the right things, but not reaching your goals, then this one may be for you. So the myth is that exactly kind of what I said. Working out, you're working hard, you're going to the gym, maybe you're doing a lot of days a week, going hard every time, or maybe you're doing some kind of high intensity class or CrossFit or whatever it may be for you, and you're working hard at it, and you're cutting your calories, you're restricting food, you're on a diet, and that's what you've been told, or that's what you've thought is going to help you reach your goals of losing fat, getting lean, getting toned, and the way that you want to look and be and all the things. That's kind of the conventional wisdom that we've been taught and that most people have in their mind is work out hard and eat less, right? But the truth that nobody tells you is none of that is going to work if you don't recover. If you don't have recovery in your back pocket, none of that is actually going to work and is going to get you to where you want to be. And so I want to get into a few truths here with recovery and what all this looks like, and then how you can actually reach your goals. So the first one being, you don't actually build muscle in the gym, right? A lot of people probably know this, but you break down muscle in the gym, and then your recovery is actually when you build it back. And so if your goal is to build muscle, you're breaking down the muscle in the gym, and then when you recover, that's when you build it back. So if you never give your body a chance to recover, then it's just in this almost, I want to say, survival mode. I don't really like that term, but almost in this survival of, I'm just trying to keep up. And so if you never have that recovery point, then your body is just trying to keep up with your training. When in the reverse, if we take a 180 from that, and we say, okay, we're going to train hard, yes, but we're also going to take our recovery serious, then it's going to give your body time to build back stronger, bigger, whatever it may be, whatever you're training for, whatever your goal is. And then on the nutrition side of things, you're not actually losing fat when you eat the food, obviously, or you're not losing fat when you maybe just don't eat food, right? Like that's not the full picture. Sure, that is a big part of it. You have to be in a calorie deficit in order to lose weight and to lose fat. But in order to get the most out of it, in order to get the highest potential and for you to smoothly go through a calorie deficit, recovery has to be a part of that process. It's not all just about eating less. When you eat less and train a lot, your body, it puts a lot of stress on your body. Eating less is a stress on your body. Working out is a stress on your body. Maybe you have some stress at work. Maybe you have family stress, relational stress, whatever it may be. All of those things are stress in your bucket of stress for your body. Your body doesn't know what is what, and what is over here and what is over here. It's just one bucket. Your body has all these stressors, and stress is not a bad thing in the right amounts. But when we add all these things on top of each other, it ends up being a lot of stress on your body, and therefore can make it harder. You have hormones like cortisol that get chronically elevated. Cortisol is your stress hormone. And so when that's high, it can make fat loss harder. And so it's not just about eating less. So when your recovery is off, what's that going to look like? Well, part of what I just said, it's going to make everything a lot harder, make losing fat, losing weight a lot harder, but it's also potentially going to throw off some hormones, slow your metabolism down, make you hungrier and crave more. So not only is it harder to actually reach your goals, harder to actually lose weight, but it's also harder to have the or to not have the cravings to not eat the food. And so it's like a double whammy. You've got both sides of the coin working against you. Your energy is going to be lower, potential libido drop, progress is going to stall. That's what we've been talking about. And so there's a lot of things that can go wrong if your recovery is not on point. And then before kind of we started this, I was talking about, for me, if my recovery is not on point, not only is it my physical progress, but I just feel cloudy mentally. And then that leads over into my relationships. And maybe I'm grumpy and crabby, whatever it may be. And so getting proper recovery is not only physical, it's going to lead into all the other areas of your life as well. And so we need to take this recovery serious. And some examples of this is, maybe whatever you're doing is intense. So what we're going to do is what I'm going to talk about here next. This is what I do with clients most of the time when it's kind of a case of, hey, I'm doing everything right. I don't know what to do to reach my goals. I feel like I'm doing everything. So what we usually do is reduce training for clients. Sometimes 2 days a week of strength training. 2 days a week of strength training is oftentimes enough for people, especially if they're new to strength training and new to training in general, or if they're overly stressed, have a lot of things going on. Reducing that training is going to be huge. It doesn't take as much as you may think. We got a question from Doug. Do you think 8 hours of sleep, 8 hours of good sleep helps with recovery, and is each person's recovery time different? That's a great question. Yes, 8 hours of good sleep will definitely help with recovery. Sleep is one of the cheat codes that we're going to talk about here a little bit. And yes, each person's recovery time is different. Um, some people are just genetically going to be able to take on more, whether it is training or stress, different things, and different things in life too. If you have a period of time where, maybe you're a new dad, you have a baby, all of these things are going to be able to, or they're going to keep you from training as hard as you want, or really being able to focus and go hard at your physical goals because you have something else that's a stressor, or whether it's good or bad stressor, it's still a stressor. And so you kind of have to figure out these different times in life where you can push the gas pedal a little bit harder or pull off a little bit. And so yes, even with the same person, the recovery times are going to change depending on what season of life you're in and depending what's going on in your life. And so, yes, 100%, Doug, you got that for sure. So anyway, going back to what I was talking about, what we usually do with clients is reducing training, and then from there, increasing quality food to balance hormones. So not only just getting better quality food, but increasing that. And so increasing calories a little bit can be a huge key to helping recovery because your body has more fuel. So with more fuel, your body is eventually going to start working with you rather than against you, and we'll get to here in a little bit. But having enough fuel is going to be huge. You can't just eat very little food. Again, it's going to put a lot of stress on your body. So you have to have this balance of fuel versus being in a calorie deficit and meeting your goals. And then some other things that we do is, hey, Go on a prayer walk. Like, stress is something. So for your nervous system and stress, that can be huge. Go on a walk, go on a prayer walk. Have some time with the Lord. Have your quiet time. Be intentional with that. Guard that time and have some time that you just get alone with the Lord and be able to kind of relieve some of that stress and just some stress management practices within that. And then the other thing would be having some kind of fun hobby or activity or just fun thing that you enjoy doing. And so if we do those things, and obviously it depends person to person, but usually those are the kind of big things that we focus on. Hydration would be in there as well, and some different things. But if we do those things within weeks, a lot of times within weeks, clients will come back better energy, their fat loss begins to happen more naturally. They're without having to really, I don't want to say work for it, because you do still have to work for it. I don't want to paint that picture that it's easy, but it happens more naturally in the way of, like, it happens as you think it should versus just grinding and nothing happening. And so the point is here that they stop fighting against their body and their body starts working with them rather than against them, because now your body is in a good, healthy space. You're in a good spot to go into your goals now a little bit better. You relieved your body of some stress. Now it's saying, okay, I can actually do this. I can, I'm not in this stressful time. I'm not trying to hold on to all this fat, right? Like, that's the initial signal that your body sends out: cortisol, stress, this fight or flight response. And so getting your body back into this rest and digest state, which is where we want to be, is super helpful for your fat loss goals and for just this healthy rhythm of life. And then from there, looking into God's design for rest and recovery, right? Like, this is a big piece for me, for what I do, my coaching being faith-based with fitness and nutrition coaching. And then, if you guys watch a lot of my videos, you guys know this, but tying it back into that of, God didn't design us just to grind endlessly. He designed us to need rest, to recover, to take care of our bodies. And so, that's a big part of this too, is rest is a part of God's design for us. And it's not laziness. And that's the way that God has created us. He didn't create us to run on empty 24/7. And so one verse that we'll look at a few verses here, but one being Genesis 2:2. By the seventh day, God had finished the work he had been doing. So on the seventh day, he rested from all his work, right? That's where the Sabbath kind of started and came from. And then Mark 2:27, the Sabbath was made for man, not man for the Sabbath. So the whole principle here of, taking that recovery time. It's okay to recover. It's okay to take a break. Now, that doesn't imply that you can just go and be lazy and do whatever you want, but rest is a good thing. And then moving on from there, talking about, sleep and, how sleep is a blessing. Sleep is a good thing. Psalms 127:2 says, "In vain you rise early and stay up late, toiling for food to eat, for he grants sleep to those he loves." So this whole idea of, grinding doesn't always create a better result. We need to do our part. Yes, we need to work hard at, whatever it is that we're doing, but ultimately, in the end, we have to trust God that he's going to provide. We have to give it to God and surrender to him and trust him with the rest, right? I mean, we can't do it all on our own strength. And then the last one I've got for you guys is Matthew 11:28. It says, "Come to me, all who are weary and burdened, and I will give you rest." And so, taking those prayer walks, like I mentioned earlier, giving it to God, surrendering to him, those things are going to be huge. Give it to God, and he will give you the rest, the peace. As Philippians 4, I think, says, the peace of God which transcends all understanding. And so having that piece of of the puzzle within your recovery of, okay, I can't do it on my own. I've got to give it to God and I've got to trust Him with the rest. And so that's really the biggest thing that I have for you guys today is, talking about this recovery. You have to kind of begin to take this recovery thing seriously in order to reach your results, in order to get to where you want to be. Recovery is definitely a huge part of it, whether it be sleep or your food, stress, or just rest in general. I want to encourage you guys to take a step forward in that and to take that recovery seriously. Whether that's starting to set a nighttime alarm, right? We talk about waking up alarms all the time, but we don't talk about nighttime alarms to go to bed a whole lot. So that's one thing. There's a lot of things that we could do here, but in summary, working hard and eating less food is not the only thing that we need to be focused on when it comes to our fat loss and it comes to reaching our health and fitness goals. And so, anyway, guys, again, I have a free sleep stress recovery guide that is linked down in the description of this video, as well as if you guys are watching live in the chat here. But if you guys have any more questions, please let me know. Pop them in the chat, and I'll get back to them. But thank you guys for watching, and have a blessed day.